What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this Lives of P video, I want to give some great beginner tips to help out you new players. Now, I know this game's been out for a while, it's been successful, but Black Friday's coming up, at least at the time of recording, pretty soon. For people that haven't played this game yet, you're probably gonna pick it up. I know there's some teasing of possible DLC and stuff like that, so I want to still at least give my 2 cents on some beginner tips here to help you guys out that are new players to this game, that are new to Souls likes, things like that. So let's jump right in. So first thing here is going to be choosing your starting class. Now, try not to stress about this because, this is not going to be an end all be all. It's just a starting stat type thing. You got balance, dexterity, strength. I would recommend if you're new to Souls games or Souls likes, you may want to go for the balance class. It's going to be more focused around a quality type of build that allows you to try a variety of weapons in the game with no issues, as long as you appropriately, upgrade your stats to what they should be to use the weapons. So I suggest this usually on any Souls game or Souls like to new players. Go for a balanced quality type of startup, so that way you can try out different weapons to figure out what you want to play. But if you already kind of know what your playstyle is, and if you want to focus more a more fast-paced, kind of more like daggers and rapiers in this game, for example, and kind of short weaponry and this kind of burst damage, I would say, to an extent, then this might be for you. The dexterity class starting off, which can be very powerful and strong in this game. Or if you want to go with massive weapons that go all unga bunga, then strength is for you. These all have different starting stats here, as you can see. So just be mindful of that, to see what's best for you with the different stats here when it comes to your health, stamina, weight, etc., physical and attack and defense, things like that. But yeah, like I said, don't try to stress this. This is just what you start off as. You cannot respec your starting stats, though. Just keep that in mind as well. So they want to factor it in. Next, it's very important to unlock stargazers. So these are essentially the bonfires of the game, if you are familiar with Souls games at all, or certain terminology of Souls games. Basically, these are the bonfires of the game, which allow you to reset the area. Like if you essentially have killed enemies, you go to this, you'll heal yourself, and it'll reset the enemies, respawn them, reset the area, and things like that. Initially, before you go to the hotel, you can level up, but this is late game where I'm at right now, showcasing this. So you'll be able to level up again with using the stargazers after certain events happen. You can also assemble weapons here. You switch to grindstone, the grinder. Now this won't all be available right away, but this will be available late game. Things like that. You can teleport to another stargazer, things like that. So very useful that you unlock these in every zone area, so that way you're not going to be, having too many issues as far as survivability, and just will need to come back and you come back and use one of these to heal up, restock, things like that. Now, halfway through the game or so, you'll end up finding this area to respec in. This is called Saintless of Mercy statue. And the way this game allows you to respec here, you'll go to the statue, you can reset your level, reset your P organs, which is basically the skill tree of the game, and reset your Legion arm, which is basically your Mega Man-like type of arm, left arm in a sense. And you can reset all those upgrades for that as well, at any point in time, as long as you have the resources to do so. So don't ever feel like you have to be stuck in a certain type of way with your stats. You can always come back here, respec what you need. When it comes to leveling in this game, as far as what stats you should pay attention to the most, things like that, it's going to all depend on what type of playstyle you're going for, and also the weapon you're using and the Legion arm, things like that. But I would definitely suggest focusing on Vitality first, because you want to get your health up, ASAP. I would say get that to 20. This is a late game build I'm showcasing. I'm level 90, and I see my Vitality is at 33, but you want to initially try to focus on that to get it to 20 ASAP for better survivability. And then I would suggest focus on whatever, your weapon damage is going to be. If it's motivity, which is strength, you want to focus on getting that up first. If it's technique, then you focus on that. You want to get those up roughly the same 20 as fast as possible, or at least, 18 respectively. Advanced is another way form of getting out damage, and certain weapons, are scaled off of advanced, not just technique and motivity. But those are your 3 top damage dealing stats: motivity, technique, advance. And then let's say you need to maybe like you got motivity up to 18. You may need to go into vigor or capacity, so your weight limit is increased, so you can carry more stuff on you. Then yeah, you would focus on either one, either capacity, vigors for your stamina. You'll eventually get up there. So if you want to like level those up kind of simultaneously after you do vitality and after you do either one of your damage stats, then yeah, I would suggest go right into capacity or vigor or both of those at the same time. Like take turns alternating between leveling those up and get those both to 20 ASAP early on in the game. And basically, you want to get vitality, vigor, capacity, and whatever your damage stat is up to 20 ASAP. Or if you're doing a balanced quality build with utilizing motivity and technique, get those to 20 ASAP. Now, maybe I forgot to mention this earlier, but when you are at the hotel, it will not look like this. This is late in the game. There will be an NPC here you'll use to level up with. So she's on here, and I can't say why because spoilers. But early on you'll use this like a stargazer level up, but then you come here, you'll talk to her, and she'll be here to level up. You talk to her, but she's not here right now. So just keep that in mind, and then it won't be till like late game after certain events happen you'll be able to use stargazer again to level up. Next, let's get into the P organ skill tree. This has 5 phases, just to keep that in mind or let you know about that. And early on you start with phase 1. Each is very descriptive, very straightforward as far as what they do. You'll have these larger nodes and smaller nodes. The larger nodes would be like this, the increased pulse cells 1. The smaller nodes will be like the enhanced charge stagger attack, the enhanced guard regain recover, like as far as like where you slot stuff into. So there's different stuff you can utilize in here. I don't have quartz anymore. I've used them all. The quartz are essentially the key item for this. There's a total of 28 you can get in the game. So it's very important you try to find all of them, explore every nook and cranny. You get some from boss fights, some mini bosses, elite enemies, things like that. But you also get some from exploring the environments from like chests, things like that. And this will help dictate your build to an extent. This is not just your weapon or legion arm. These different like stat boosters, essentially, or extra attribute boosters, will help you out a lot in this game for survivability, such as like adding amulet slots, because you can have a max of 4. You can increase your Fable Art slots, I think having a max of 5. Increasing a stagger window for enemies and bosses, like that's very vital. And then retain guard, regain, as far as like when you block, you take damage and you can regain it back, the health that you lost, similar to Bloodborne. So, different things in here will factor in depending on what route you go. So there's different stuff you can do with this investment time with this, but you unfortunately cannot unlock all of it. Like I said, you only get 28 quartz that you unlock. So this is an example of using all of them for a particular build. So you have to be very, very, specific in what you want to go into in this skill tree. But have fun with it, experiment, try stuff. You can always respec the P organ. So if you're not happy with something in here and want to try something else, then you can. Not a problem. Ergo. This is essentially the souls of the game, where you collect Ergo and use it to level up. You'll sometimes collect, dim Ergo fragments or dim Ergo crystals or vivid Ergo crystals. These will give you a certain set amount to help you get more Ergo in the game to utilize for leveling up and buying items from merchants in the game. Now, when it comes to rare Ergo, such as this one, you don't want to sell it. That's usually a boss Ergo, essentially, and you can turn that into a certain NPC that gives you boss weapons, or other like items that are specific, and only get them with him. So it's definitely important not to sell these. Keep them all, utilize them for that certain NPC you meet later in the game. You won't meet him right away, but he'll show up. So yeah, save them. A regular Ergo like this, you can utilize, as much as you want, I would say. So have at it, so that way you can level up properly from that. When it comes to consumables, don't stress about this too much if you don't use them enough, or if you use them too much, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be able to buy them back from any of the merchants in the game. Different consumables will have different, uses. As you can see here, this recharges your Fable Arts. This helps recharge your Legion arm. As far as that bar goes, some of these help with resistances and getting rid of different stat debuffs, things like that. Adding, a specific damage to your weapon, such as like fire, electricity, or like an acid damage. So these are the three main elemental types of damage you can do on enemies, and they can do to you. And you even got a repair tool here you can use to help you repair your weapon even faster. And I meant to go into that a bit earlier. So when you're out exploring, getting attacked by enemies, you'll notice that on the bottom right, there is that gray bar. And you notice it going down a bit, right? As I'm attacking enemies. That is your durability bar. So you want to keep an eye on that. When it gets, I would say, about halfway, you want to go down here to your grinder. And if you're on Xbox or using Xbox or on PC, you'll hit X to get it back to 100%. So that way, you're keeping your weapon at full capacity, full power for the most part. And you're not worried about it breaking, because if it does get low enough, it will turn red and it will not be good. So keep that in mind. Durability of your weapon is very important to keep upkeep. And if you're in a bind where you're in a boss fight and you don't have time to utilize this regular grind, that is where these come in handy, because they instantly repair your weapon durability, and they're not, they don't take long at all to pop real quick and use. So if you're in a sticky spot in a boss situation, I found most of the time I had issue with this was in certain boss fights. It wasn't so much in like the environment exploring. So yeah, these come in handy. They'll come clutch. Remember to use them. When you start to unlock more Legion arms, you can go to the Stargazer and switch out here if you like to use Stargazers. Switch between your Legion arms for a playstyle you want to go for. There's different kinds. And if you're wondering where you even make them at, because you do have to craft them, you'll eventually unlock this NPC here, Vanini, and then you want to use this machine, and you can craft Legion arms here or modify them as well. So this is where you'll craft them at. You can see a short video on how to use them, things like that. You want to modify them, which basically means upgrading them. So, but yeah, once you unlock this, it'll be fantastic. You can play around with your different Legion arms that have different builds. If you're wondering about upgrading weapons, you will come talk to this NPC over here. You can upgrade weapons here. So you'll need materials for this. This first one start off be Hidden Moonstone. So like you'll need Hidden Moonstone. You'll need Crescent Moonstone to go to further than that, up to 6. The Full Moonstone is to get your weapon up to 10. You can get about 6 of these, I believe, in one playthrough altogether, if you make sure you explore everything properly. Dark Moonstone of the Covenant also helps get you upgrade weapon to +3. Full Moonstone of the Covenant helps get to +5. If you go to this NPC here, you can even see you'll need half Moonstones as well. You can buy from him. Help get to 9. So you'll be fine. You'll find these in the environments too, as like in chests, enemy drops, things like that. And you can also buy them from this NPC here at the hotel. So you should never run out of these. The only one you'll run out of is the Full Moonstone, because there's only roughly like 5 or 6 in the game that you'll be able to find. So these are super rare. You're only going to be able to, in one playthrough, upgrade 6 weapons to their full max out capacity. So keep that in mind. If you want to alter the handles of weapons, you talk to her as well, and you can go in here. You can switch this up as long as you have the right crank for it. You got advanced crank, technique, motivity. So as long as you got the right crank for it, you can switch this up. Different handles, things like that. If you want to make a strength a motivity weapon into more balanced, you can. Up to you. You can reset it as well. But you obviously need to have the balance crank to reset stuff. So keep that in mind. This is very important. If you want to assemble weapons, you also can assemble them here. You can essentially take the handle, not the handle, sorry, take the sort of blade part of a weapon if you want, and then you'll take the handle, put on what you want. So experiment with this, have fun with it. I personally put the bow cutting saw blade with the bramble curved sword handle because I wanted more speed on the weapon attack. So this is a great option here. You can always try this combination or a variation of this combination, different weapon. So have fun with it, try it out, experiment. Now, something I personally didn't use in my playthrough in this game is star fragments. These are items in the game you can use some inspectors. Specters are basically AI companions that'll help you in boss fights. They're only used to help you in boss fights, and they're honestly more of a distraction than anything. They're not going to help you like whittle down the health much of a boss. They're more so to keep the boss's attention until they die. So there are certain, other items and things you can do to utilize to help keep them a lot better and buff them if you're going for like a build that emphasizes on the use of using specters as help in boss fights. So I typically only suggest using this if you're struggling against the boss, you know, and you really don't want to go in alone. Just keep in mind though, once you use these up, you have to go it alone. So, just be mindful of how much you use these. And then we'll touch on wish stones. These are another kind of material that you can use, a sort that give you a buff. There's different kinds here. I got 3 examples of. The one I usually would use is the recovery wish stone, temporary restores HP. I find this best used in boss fights when I'm in a pinch. So another good one is increase max stamina over a set period of time. That's very good if you're going for that type of build. Increase your stamina recovery. And then increase fabled charge amount for a set period of time as well when attacking. So if you have a very aggressive build or you're just a very aggressive player, I feel like this would be good for you as well. You got these different ones. You'll end up using this in combination with the cube. So you'll have it essentially slotted into this, and you'll use this. Make sure it is part of your belt in some way, where it's the upper belt or lower belt. You'll have a slot in here, one of these slots, to use it, and it can be very useful. So I personally don't use this a ton, but that's going to be helpful, I think, to newcomers to this game. Amulets, you want to make sure you read what each amulet does, understand what it does for what you want to do. Obviously, you won't have 4 slots unlocked right away. You'll start off with 2, and then as you gradually progress and how you build your pure organ skill tree, you can unlock up to 4. That's the max, and you'll collect different amulets throughout the game as long as you're exploring. Finding chests that have them and things like that. I think certain bosses drop them as well too. So different ones do different kinds of things, that's going to help you out a lot. Just make sure you're reading, paying attention to what they do so it fits your play style. Same thing goes for defensive parts. Each defensive part is different. There's 4 different kinds. You got these frames. Make sure you read what they do. You'll unlock these as you progress through the game. You have these capacity, like large capacity, that offers different like resistances to either corrosion, to electricity, fire, things like that. Different, essentially defensive buffs and resistances. So make sure you pay attention to that. The third one here is going to be a cartridge. So once again, pay attention to it, read it, figure out what's best for you, so that way you can utilize these 2 for their full effect. The last one here is going to be focused on being a liner, the 4th one. So whatever liner you think is going to be good for you at the time, you utilize it. This is the best overall one I got equipped now, I think, in the game. But yeah, it's very important to use these. You get 4 defensive parts, so pay attention to this, and you'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun to utilize, helping your build. And I think that about covers it from what I want to do for beginner tips for Lies of P. Only thing I would probably add is just, explore everything. Just explore everything. Have fun. Try to unlock all the shortcuts, things like that. Find all the NPCs you can find and have fun with it. Be patient. You know, this game is a very hard and challenging game. And if you're not used to it, you know, it will stress you out a bit and probably make you angry. But if you are used to these type of tough, challenging games, then you'll be right at home. So hopefully this was, helpful to you. You enjoyed this. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell for notifications as I got more content coming at you with Liza P. My name is Mike. Thank you for watching.